This is one of my all-time favorite go-to soups. It's creamy beans and green soup. Ready?
Can't wait to try it.
All right, so we're gonna turn on our burner up to high, and we're gonna start with some onions and carrots. Those are sliced pretty thinly so that they cook really quickly.
Right.
So we're just gonna...
Now I notice there's no oil in that pan.
There is no oil in that pan.
Don't you need oil to saute onions?
Well, you can use oil if you want to, but at 126 calories per tablespoon, I am not going to add it in there.
Yeah, good for you.
You just really, this is really called a dry saute because we're not using any oil or an abundance of water or broth, which is what I used to use.
And look at that, the food's not sticking.
It's not sticking. This is really an exercise in mindful cooking. You want to stay on top of your food.
Right.
So keep everything moving, and you'll notice that the ingredients that we're using all have a lot of water in them. Right. So that water, once it's heated, starts to
come out.
I
got it.
And then we can start to, everything just moves around the surface of the pan really well, really easily. Now you just want to make sure that when you're doing this, have a little bit of either water or vegetable broth off to the side, because you may get some browning and you just want to pull that up off the floor of the pan and back into the food. That's called a deglaze.
Right.
So,
all right.
So I'm going to pull my heat down just a little bit. I like to get a cooking temperature, which is medium high. Okay, so we're getting nice. You can almost start seeing some of that
browning,
on those onions.
Smells good too.
Oh, I love this so much. Okay, so let's go ahead and add our shallot. Now, a shallot is really pretty delicate, so we're not going to give that too much time to cook there because we want to add in the rest of our ingredients. Oh gosh, that scent, woo, so good, so good. Now, if you want to add in our Yukon potatoes, which I have peeled and cut to a bite size, and then add in our artichokes. That's 1 can, a 14-ounce can of the artichoke hearts that I've quartered.
Right, so this is what we already talked about. It's like 1,000 milligrams of potassium. I think the artichokes have about 500 milligrams of potassium.
So full, full. So I'm gonna get our...
A little bit of your homemade brezzi broth there.
That's right, baby. Okay, now these are white beans. You can use cannellini beans, or you can use just these white navy beans, really whatever you come across.
And they even have potassium in it.
They do,
right? I think we calculated, it's like, that's like 800 or 900 milligrams of potassium in a couple cans.
So much. All right, so now what we're gonna do is, because we want to toast our spices, and so they become even more aromatic.
That's just some Italian seasoning and a little crushed red pepper, right?
Yeah, and you certainly don't have to add the crushed red pepper if you're really sensitive to heat.
Right.
But we're going to give this just a minute or so on. Oh, can you smell that? Just how those spices just really open up when you heat them. Oh gosh, yum. Okay, so now, because we have our beans in there, we want to add our greens in there. So what I'm going to do is now add some of our broth. We're going to add about 4 cups total.
Yep.
Let me get that going, because I know the bottom of the pan was getting a little bit brown.
Yep.
So now I'm just pulling all that up.
All that flavor, right?
All that flavor, yeah. So I'm going to pull our temperature up as well. Okay, now we're nice and coated in. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. So we're going to add in just a little bit more broth. This serves 4.
Okay. You
can see how much is in there. Oh my gosh, it's going to be so filling. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to add in. I've chosen to use bok choy today because it is, yes, it's high in potassium, but I like to think of it as like a gateway green because there's really not a whole lot of flavor to it.
Right.
And and it also cooks down very well. So what an opportunity to add greens to a meal, right? You can just put it right into your soup.
No, you're right. I have friends and family members who are kind of green averse. You would think that they're going to get cooties or something if they eat some green food. But you're right. I mean, hiding it in a soup or a stew is a great way to add greens and add all that it's packed with nutrients, right? Again, if,
Yeah.
potassium and the fiber and calcium and all those other vitamins and nutrients we need. That's a great way to do that. So.
It's not just always about eating a salad, right?
Right,
You can
that's
add
right.
it to anything.
Right.
All right, so we are going to allow this to cook for about 20 minutes.
I'm gonna cover it up.
Please do.
All right.
We'll come back and we'll have lunch.
All right, sounds good.
Just a few more steps left. Oh, wow.
That smells so good.
So good. Okay, I'm going to turn off the heat. Now, this is called my creamy beans and greens for a
Right.
reason, because
Yeah.
I'm going to take this immersion blender
Yeah.
or stick blender.
Yep. One of the
And-
greatest inventions ever, by the way.
You know it's one of my favorites,
Yeah.
because we don't have to get out the big blender. Now, if you don't have a stick blender or an immersion blender, you certainly can just take a couple of batches of soup and put it into your blender.
Right.
No big deal. But this really just does the job right for you in this pan. Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
And this another reason that I really enjoy doing this and having these creamy soups, after you blend all the ingredients, it really just
Flavors.
comes together.
Yeah, the flavors, yeah. And,
So-
but also, I like it because you can leave a little bit of texture in the food, right?
That's right.
So I don't like blending it completely smooth,
That's right, yeah,
but
just as we
mostly
did.
smooth. Yeah, exactly. So there's still a little chunkiness with it, if you will.
That's right. Yeah, thanks. Okay, so we are going to hit this
sorry.
with, here we go, with one more
Give me that,
batch
napkin over
of,
there.
one
Thank
more
you.
batch of greens,
Thank you.
more potassium.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. I see what you did there.
Now
Again, these food pots
I
are
know,
gonna
I know,
have
I
to
know.
stop.
I know, it's a little cheesy.
Yeah.
All right, so.
Well, not cheesy. It's not
Okay.
really cheesy.
No, it's not cheesy. Oh my God, stop. This, now look at that spinach.
that
It's
looks
it just
amazing.
wilts down immediately
Yeah, it's
because there's
amazing.
so much water in there.
Yep.
Okay, now for the last and final step, we're gonna brighten it up just a little bit by adding a squeeze of lemon.
And by the way, just another kind of nutrition fact. Things like
Iron.
spinach, yeah. So spinach has a lot of iron in it, right? But it's a different kind of iron that you find, say, in red meat. And to optimally absorb the iron that's in spinach, you need to have a source of vitamin C. So when you finish a soup with a little lemon juice, for example, which is high in vitamin C, that really makes that iron accessible. So it really bumps up the nutrition even further.
Good to know.
Oh my goodness, this looks
Good
good.
to know. Okay, so,
In my belly.
oh, you probably need a spoon.
That would be helpful.
Okay, there you
Although
go.
I don't know, I could probably. You have a straw?
Well, maybe. All right,
All
it's gonna be
right.
hot.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers. Okay.